All JoAnn fabric stores are due to close at the end of May of 2025. This coming after 82 years of existence since they were founded in Cleveland, Ohio in 1943. It seems like these craft stores are slowly dying out with how big online shopping has become. But today, let me, Jeff, take you across the country to different craft stores including Hobby Lobby, JoAnn, and Michael's. We'll read some funny and wild one-star reviews and a lot of real sassy people. This video is inspired by long-term fan and now super Jeff freak, Steven. If you want your suggestion done by me, leave in the comments down below. Alright, let's get into those reviews. For our first stop, we're going to head to a Hobby Lobby in Franklin, Tennessee. If I had a word to describe this Hobby Lobby, it would be, yep, that's a Hobby Lobby. And it has a 4.4 rating on 1,128 reviews. Franklin is the 7th most populous city in Tennessee with a population of 83,454 people. Your Franklin fun fact is that the city was named after Benjamin Franklin.
The one, the only, the sexy Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr.
Jeff. That's right, it's a saucy Ben Franklin. So let's get into these Hobby Lobby reviews. And the first review comes from Kevin. Wrongful scanned items and pushed to the back of a massive line. How come employees aren't trained to do adjustments, or scan barcodes, or check prices, or show any sympathy for messing up and making me wait 15 more minutes in line to check out? I really want to know what happened here. Did the employee punch in the number and they're like, oh no, that was the third wrong number today, and then they got raptured or something? Like, what's going on here? Let's see if we can learn anything from Megan's review.
Complete disaster.
If you want to wait in line for 75 minutes on a Wednesday to get some basic art and craft supplies for a school project, come here. If you want to move boxes and carts just to find product you need, also come here. Seems to be about 25 workers while only 3 checking out and several just around the store. I assume putting stock away. First off, I apologize if your dog or dogs came running in the room and I said, come here. Oops, did I do it again? I also really enjoyed that thick layer of sarcasm that Megan oozed all over this review. Jeff gives it a 5-star. Let's go to the next one. The next review comes from Threedus. Wait, no, it's Fortis. I ordered a whole bolt of fabric. When I went to pick it up, the associate took off the plastic and started to unravel it. I informed her that I ordered the whole bolt, and she told me that she still needed to measure the amount, because if it had more than the package stated, she would need to charge extra for this, and vice versa if not enough fabric. If anyone who sews enough knows, the amount on bolt is stated on the end of the bolt. I don't need to measure to look for something different from what the factory packaged. This is not the norm since this is not the first time I've ordered a whole bolt. What a turnoff. Well, I learned something new today. Picking up a bolt of cloth at Hobby Lobby can be a pretty thrilling experience, I guess. And I'm not someone who sews enough to know, so is that the normal for them to take it out of the package and try to measure to charge you more or less for a bolt of cloth? The only bolt of cloth I know is from RuneScape. The next review comes from a 2-lettered entity only known as EG.
Beware.
If you are elderly and or disabled,
Do not.
shop here. Manager Lisa will not tolerate people like us.
Someone please bring her a little patience and holiday cheer and a copy of the federal ADA.
I really want to know what happened to cause the manager to say they will not tolerate elderly and disabled people. Like, what happened with EG? Like, what? Let me know any of your theories to what happened to EG. Let's go to the next review. Let's find out if Tanya ran into that same manager. I used to shop here for the variety of natural fiber yarns. Many of the varieties that I bought were discontinued when the company decided to reduce all craft supplies by 30% in order to put in more year-round seasonal. Very disappointed to lose such a convenient retail option for my crafts. The other things I'd purchase here aren't really worth waiting in the long lines. Nope, Tanya did not run into the same manager, but she did have a very specific problem, and I'm glad she shared it with us. Let's read Liz's review. There is always a line at checkout. Even though there are plenty of employees on the floor and supervising, infuriating that they don't value the customer's time and don't open registers. They need to update registers so cashiers don't have to hand type in every item, especially at HL. Carts are overflowing. This review makes that first review from Kevin make more sense about the wrongful items scanned. So they have to hand punch in every item, and yeah, that's a lot of items at Hobby Lobby. They're like wall to wall filled with crap. I'm just kidding. But let's go to the next craft store. Next up is the bankruptcy queen herself, JoAnn Fabrics in Boise, Idaho. This green JoAnn Fabrics located next to a Planet Fitness so you can get your sweat on and then get your craft on, or however you get freaky, has a 4.1 rating on 1,403 reviews. A fun fact about Boise is that the University of Boise State has a blue football field. There's a myth about the blue field that birds fly into it thinking it's a body of water and die. There's even a story where former head coach Chris Peterson found a deceased duck on the field in 2007, yet the origin was never confirmed. Spooky. So let's go read some JoAnn Fabrics reviews. Oh, Jeff just squeezing in here quick. If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing and joining the Jeff Freaks. You can also join my memberships and join the Super Jeff Freaks along with Darth Jen, Jawara Hall, Steven, and Jake. Alright, back to the video. The first review comes from Lindsay. I've shopped this store for several years. When I went in today, I was saddened to see the state of the store. I understand it's the holidays, but the place looked like it hadn't been properly stocked or cleaned in months. I saw a total of 3 employees doing their best to keep things going, and a fair amount of patience being shown by patrons, but I was very disappointed in the lack of cleanliness and organization. It probably looks like it hasn't been stocked or cleaned in months, because it hasn't been. The next review comes from Sarah. There was a 40% off sign for some jewelry pieces. When I attempted to purchase them, the young, dark-haired cashier refused to honor the discount. She was also difficult over the holidays 2024. So there is overcharging for things that were advertised at a lower price, and rude and slow cashiers. I know that it is hard to find qualified applicants for jobs, but this is ridiculous. Seems like this review is less about the jewelry pieces and more about the cashier. What do you guys think? And while you're pondering that question, I'll read Betsy's review. My 82-year-old dad went to this store on October 12th to buy picture frames. He couldn't find them, so he looked for help and no one was around. Then he went to a cashier and asked if he could get some help, and she simply said, "No." He left the store. I'm extremely disappointed in this service. Do better. Betsy's dad went here not even over the holidays and they couldn't even help him. That is extremely disappointing, but pretty par for the course so far with these JoAnn reviews. Let's go to the next one. And that review comes from Carrie. Nothing like a trip to JoAnn's to ruin your day. Literally every experience with this store is horrible. The most poorly run store I've ever dealt with. Wait in line for 30 minutes. There's not that many people here. The employees are just completely slow. To get your fabric cut by a girl that can't measure properly.
My dad always says, measure twice, cut once.
My daddy always said, Cleveland Jr., quit jumping on the bed.
We didn't measure! We didn't measure!
Only to wait in line to check out. 0 stars. Well, technically it's still a 1-star review, but I get where Carrie's coming from. This is an extremely frustrating situation. 30 minutes in line just to have your stuff cut incorrectly, and then you have to wait in line again to check out. Well, that's what normally happens at most stores, but I'm guessing the wait in that line's really long too. But not the wait for the next review. Let's go. And that review comes from Caitlin.
Don't go here.
Unless you do well in dirt and clutter, half things on the edible shelves are expired. The employees, I only saw 2, and they were rude and short.
The vertically challenged vertical challenge.
The store is more dirty than my car when I was homeless.
Do better, JoAnn's.
I like a bit of that self-deprecating humor in there. The store is more dirty than my car when I was homeless. And we get a little bit of lore about the local guide leaving this review. Awesome! The next review comes from another local guide, and it's Tony. This used to be a good store. The app no longer even works, and a couple days ago I placed an order for 26 items to be picked up. Every single one of the showed in stock. The next morning, they canceled all but 2. No wonder this company is in such financial trouble. It's been getting worse and worse and worse, and the stores are understaffed so the lines can be really long. So that's why I switched to online with pickup when I couldn't find what I needed elsewhere. The website ordering system is clunky, slow, and flawed, so it takes a long time to even place an order. and then to have 90% of it canceled the very next day is just ridiculous. This review could have been shortened to just the first line there. This used to be a good store, but it definitely isn't anymore. Let's head to the next store. Our next stop is going to take us to a Michael's in Tyler, Texas. Looks like this Michael's is located in like a retail park area and has a 4.4 rating on 1,554 reviews. The city of Tyler, Texas has a population of 105,995 people. Tyler, Texas is known as the Rose Capital of America, and even hosts the annual Texas Rose Festival. So let's go read these Michael's reviews. Let's get this Michael's in Tyler, Texas started with Ashley. The male, tall, older looking manager is extremely rude and unprofessional. Had a question about price. They put the item next to a sign that said it was on sale. I pointed it out to the manager and he said, "Okay." So rude and unprofessional, a simple "oh, okay, thanks" would have been great. Try some professionalism and customer service. I shop at Michael's a lot and have spent a ton of my money with them. Uncalled for and unprofessional management. If they would put actual humans at the checkout counter, things would run a lot more smoothly. Cutting costs and it shows. Hire better management, Michael's, Tyler, Texas. This entire review all over how the person said okay. Nice. Let's see what happened to Bill. Item shows pickup today in search. Get to store and they are sold out online too. Deception. Michael's hit Bill with a childhood classic of haha, made you look, now you're in my baby book. Let's go to the next review. And that review comes from Jessica. Most employees were great, but I wasn't happy with the 2 social butterflies taking 50 minutes to blow up 20 balloons. I now know not to come back for balloons. That can be a very annoying experience if you're going into a shop to buy something. The person there is like, "Oh cool, my new best friend just walked in." They talk and talk and talk and talk to you, and before you know it, you lost 20 minutes picking up one item. I feel like all of us have been there once or twice with that over-friendly employee, but sometimes it's kind of nice if you're having a bad day. What sort of experience did Savion have? We use curbside pickup for a reason. With flu and C9 back on the rise, some of us don't want to come in the stores. So when we are forced after sitting outside for 30 minutes and we see some of your employees straightening shelves, that's unacceptable. If you don't want to offer curbside, take it off your website. However, if your corporate office enforces is, then you should enforce it as well as an employee of the company. Simple. Yeah, that was pretty simple. If your corporate office enforces is, then you should enforce it as well. That's what my mom always used to tell me too. And let's move on to Anne's review. We couldn't find the sizes of shirts we needed in a particular size. We also felt very uncomfortable when we realized we were being stalked by the greeter. He kept hovering around, watching us.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
Like we were going to steal several t-shirts. We just left without searching further in another color. I wonder if the person Anne thought was the door greeter was even the door greeter, because it would be very strange for someone who was supposed to be standing at the door greeting people to follow you around the store. What do you guys think? What I know is that the next review comes from Jay, and that's the first letter of my name, Jeff. Their discounts is very confusing. Felt like lost money on my return. Sale had very few items. Shop sale 4 days. No replenish sale items. Everyday customers talked about Hobby Lobby having same sale and product. Spent my $400 budget at Hobby Lobby. Gave Michael's a chance. Manager said more product coming. Nah. Felt like lost money on my return. Did Jay expect to make money because Michael's was having a sale? Does Jay understand how a sale works? I'm not too sure, but hey, they talked about Hobby Lobby, so let's go to a Hobby Lobby next. Since Jay talked about Hobby Lobby so much, we're going to head to another Hobby Lobby, this time in Auburn, Maine. This Hobby Lobby is in a standalone building surrounded by other retailers, and it has a 4.4 rating on 1,853 reviews. Auburn, Maine has a population of 24,061 people. Your fun fact about Auburn is that Sarah May Stinchfield Hawk was born here. She was the first person in America to receive a PhD for speech pathology and co-founded the American Speech and Hearing Association in 1925. That is pretty cool. So let's go read some Hobby Lobby reviews. The first Hobby Lobby review comes from Hannah. I tried to run into the store at 7:50. I knew exactly what I wanted and had just drove 30 minutes to get to the store. I was rudely welcomed by 7 employees telling me that I can't come in, and they just couldn't lock the doors. Mind you, I could have been in and out if one of these employees helped me by the time they closed. But instead it was like the armed guard blocking me from going into the store. Will be my last encounter there. I personally would never go to a store 10 minutes before they close, especially a big department store like this, and expect them to stay open or be friendly to me. But I know 8 o'clock means 8 o'clock, so they should stay open, but you guys can let me know your opinion, and we'll go to the next review. Let's see if Wendy's Hobby Lobby trip went any better. I had purchased some items, and they went on sale the following week. They have the worst policy for getting a sales price adjustment. The customer has to bring all the items in and not just the receipt. That is a very annoying sales price adjustment, to have to bring all the items back in. What if you bought like 50 little trinkets at Hobby Lobby and they all go on sale? You have to bring them all back in and have them rescan all of them or repunch them all in. That seems annoying and a waste of time for everyone. What happened to JC at this Hobby Lobby? Worst service assistant. Loud blonde, yelling at checkout customers, then got behind him in checkout. He has a prosthetic and feels very self-conscious, and felt like she was seeing if he was stealing. Screamed into her intercom. Mad because a customer was asking for an item supposedly online only. Stuck a laptop thing at him, saying, "Is this it?" Was nice when we went in, asked her a question, she directed us. When I left, she glared at my service dog. Has a medical service vest. I will not return. I frequent there very often with friends. I think the first part of JC's review is her observing somebody getting treated poorly by someone that works at Hobby Lobby. I don't really know what she's talking about in most of this, but hey, at least she has a cool service dog. The next Hobby Lobby review is from Brandon. This store is wall-to-wall overpriced junk. If you're interested in obtaining the style of furniture sold here, go to an antique shop. It's about the same price, and you'll be getting something well made and unique. The few times I've ever been to a Hobby Lobby, I've walked through it and been like, wow, there's a lot of stuff here I would never buy. So I feel what Brandon's talking about. The next review comes from the letter T.
Hey there, I'm Tommy, I'm a T from Tennessee.
Horrible management. My car was hit by a rollaway cart for the third time in a 2-week period. Coworker's car was hit 3 hours later. My store manager attempted to help and was reprimanded and told she needed to be taught a lesson. Worst customer service I've ever seen. Based on the context of the review, it sounds like T works at like a neighboring business or something, and their manager tried to stick up for them and needed to be taught a lesson. Did they get fought? What is going on? Let's read what happened to Dylan. If you're gonna go to get window markers for graduation, then you're better to order them because you can order as many as you want and there's a limit at Hobby Lobby. I love reviews like this. It's a very, very specific problem. I'm guessing Dylan wanted to buy many, many graduation markers here and was told, nope, there's a limit of X amount. So you know what? A 1-star review. That's awesome. Alright, let's go to the next craft shop. Our next stop is a Michael's located in the Black Hills of South Dakota in Rapid City. This is where you typically see a Michael's, located in a power center strip mall type area and has a 4.4 rating on 710 reviews. Rapid City is the second most populous city in South Dakota with a population of 74,703 people. If you're in this part of America, you might be thinking, maybe I'll go visit Mount Rushmore, but instead of that, how about you visit Dinosaur Park in Rapid City? The park was built in 1936 and it contains 7 kind of derpy looking dinosaur sculptures, and it was built to capitalize on the tourists going to see Mount Rushmore. So with that in mind, let's go read some Michael's reviews. The first Michael's review comes from Brian. We stopped in to pick up some framing and drop off a couple UPS packages. First, the framing folks are great, prompt and professional. The issue started with the lady at the front counter when we went to drop off the packages. She was playing on her phone and eating a sandwich. We were obviously inconveniencing her by being there. She stated, "You know there is a UPS store in this plaza, right? Why don't you go there?"
Are you kidding me?
You absolutely numbskull. Do your job, or go clack your giant gross fake nails elsewhere. We even tried to say thank you, but you talked over us to whoever you were on the phone with.
Do better.
To me, it sounds like the employee was just trying to help Brian, like, hey, you know there's an actual UPS store here, but the fact that they were eating a sandwich and talking on the phone while at work, I don't know what to believe. Let's read what happened to Angie. Had a list today, but couldn't find anyone to help then. When I found someone, they said they could go to the area I was asking about. Went to checkout with the 2 of the 5 things I went in there for, that the website said they had. No one at checkout. So I just out my stuff down and left. And you wonder why Amazon is getting so much business. It would be pretty funny if nobody was up front at the cash registers because they were all self-checkout registers. I know someone should still be up there, but that just makes me laugh. What sort of mark did Michaels leave on Mark?
Never.
Get put on hold. They do not come back. I called it was put on hold for over 10 minutes. I hung up and called back another 10 minutes. I called back. I was put on hold. This time I waited 47 minutes. Once more I called back. It was immediately put on hold. 25 minutes later, I hung up.
Horrible customer service.
I'm curious, did Mark actually have a question to ask, or was he just testing how long he got put on hold? The next review comes from Joe. Horrible! I was told to have my fabric
Cut at the front.
and waited in line for 15 minutes for the clerk, only to be told,
Wrong line.
and waited in another area for a person to cut the stuff, then was sent back into the line and still can't do self-checkout. I had a 25% sale and regular coupon, but because the fabric I had was
Patented.
it wasn't valid. Overall wasted 45 minutes of my time.
Never going back.
Sounds like fine print strikes again with that coupon fiasco. And they mentioned self-checkout, so maybe that's why nobody was up front for Angie. Who knows, the plot always gets a little bit thicker. Let's go to the next review. And that review comes from Sierra. I was there tonight and this older lady was at the checkout. I was unsure where to go since I was paying with cash, so I asked her and she was extremely rude, unkind, and waved her hand at me like I was stupid. I walked out feeling like trash about the whole situation. No employee should treat a customer like this. She was just straight up disrespectful. I really feel like something else happened here between Sierra and this employee, because the simple question of where do I go to pay with cash shouldn't make you feel like trash. The next review comes from Cheyenne, and no, not the capital of Wyoming. That would be just weird. Love shopping at Michael's, but for some reason last time was there. A couple that was shopping kept on following me around the store. Really creeped me out. Sounds a little paranoid to me. Let's go to the next craft store. Our next stop is a JoAnn Fabrics in Orland Park, Illinois. This JoAnn's is located in a major retail hub of Orland Park. There's tons of shops around here. And it has a 4.1 rating on 709 reviews. Orland Park is located 25 miles southwest of Chicago and it has a population of 58,703 people. If you ever find yourself in Orland Park, Illinois and you're bored, you could always go to Gizmo's Fun Factory. It's a 47,000 square foot indoor entertainment center. I wonder how much fun per square foot you have at Gizmo's. Let's go read JoAnn's reviews. Let's get this Illinois JoAnn started off with Laura. Place an order to drive up and pick up. Followed my email instructions. Sat in spot for 30 minutes. No one comes out. Sign says call number if you're waiting a long time. I called 10 times and no one answers ever. Finally go inside. And one person working 3 different positions. Don't waste your time ordering and picking up. In fact, don't even waste your time going there. 1 employee. Pathetic. After reading that review, man, I really do feel bad for that one employee at JoAnn's, because that stinks trying to do 3 jobs at once. Not fun. Handle the next review with care because it comes from Carrie. This store used to be great. Now it's just awful. It's dirty, completely unorganized. Boxes blocking aisles, clearance yarn just thrown in big bins so it can get tangled and ruined. The bathrooms are downright scary if they're even working. You can basically tell no one gives a dang. It's a shame. A scary bathroom at JoAnn Fabrics. I did not have that on my bingo card. Let's read what happened to Delicia. If I could give this location a negative star, I would. I can't believe how I was treated as a customer by the store manager, Amy. I had placed an order online that never delivered to my home, so I went to the store to ask about it. Upon being directed to this specimen of a manager, she immediately tells me that my situation with the online order that I placed has nothing to do with her or her store, and that I will need to call the customer service line to address. Listening to her tone, I asked why she was speaking to me like that, and then immediately she started to walk away, while telling me she didn't need to deal with me. If you are a store manager, there needs to be a skill level around having customer service and conflict resolution versus just avoiding the issue right away. She is a horrible representative of JoAnn's and seriously needs training. It feels like we're missing part of the story, because if you went to a store and just were like, hey, I placed an online order with you guys and it hasn't come yet, and they're like, sorry, we don't deal with that here, you have to call the customer service number, it'd be like, alright, cool, thanks. Wouldn't that be the end of the conversation, or am I missing something? Let's move on to Michelle's review, and she has picture proof. 0 out of 10. Every time I go, it is more disorganized. There are aisles that you cannot walk through because of all the poorly organized checkouts. The store is very dirty. I have never visited a JoAnn like this. Every time I have gone, there are only 2 employees, one person in the fabric area and the other at the cashier, and neither of them know anything. You ask them about something and they just say, there it is, because they cannot serve the customers. I'll blow up and enhance the images now so you guys can see them, but yes, everything is very disorganized and very disheveled at this JoAnn's. All I want though is a picture of the scary bathroom, but we'll have to settle for a D's review. I hate to add fuel to the fire here, but this store is terrible. I haven't even seen it neat or tidy in any way. I was there yesterday and it was particularly bad. The customers all play an equal role here. There were 3 drink cups left behind on shelves. I even saw a half-eaten slice of pizza. It's not that hard, as a customer, to throw your garbage away. Or maybe not rip things open that you haven't paid for. Overall, it's really just hard to find anything here. A lot of the customers are slobs, and I just don't want to support the kind of corporation that won't adequately support their staff. This place doesn't have to be like this. Unfortunately for D, this place will be no more very soon after I make this video. Oh. But for now, we'll read Jessica's review. Went into Orland's location and there was no final sale sign posted at the register, only that they don't match or take coupons or checks. I went to the Crestwood location and noticed they have different prices. I called the manager at the Orland location to be nice and let her know there was no sign. She told me it was posted since they knew they were closing, and that people that do that shop without knowing what liquidation is. Basically telling me I'm an idiot and shouldn't have bought a bunch of vinyl without checking other locations. The employee that answered the phone was also rude. I didn't insult either one or come off as mean, just asking where the signs are because they weren't visible. Glad they're closing. I have a feeling that Jessica bought a bunch of vinyl at the Orland location, went to the Crestwood location to buy even more vinyl, noticed it was a lot cheaper there, called the Orland location to question them, and that led to this review. And with that, you made it to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, watch this video on screen if you haven't seen it, and I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye!